I love to ask entrepreneurs about their defeats and mistakes because they are the great teaching experiences. Have you had to sell sometimes bitter sort of at yourself saying, I didn't see this is a huge loss, my fault, and you come into the office, everybody's looking at you. Has that happened?
Has it happened? I mean, I've been doing this for almost 50 years. I mean, it's happened with embarrassing frequency, and it still happens to me today. You do make those mistakes. If you're going to be investing in small and medium-sized companies, you are going to make mistakes. The important thing is to recognize that you're going to make mistakes and to admit that you're making a mistake and to take as small a loss as possible after you recognize that you've made a mistake. The worst thing for us to do is to hang on because you want to prove that you're right in the first place and lose more and more and more money. Because it becomes pretty obvious, especially to people that are a little more objective than you are, that you've picked a bum stock. And I have great partners that remind me all the time about the stock that I bought that was supposed to do such and hasn't, and they'll come back and say, now Ian, what do you think? And it's, you have to recognize that. But the biggest mistakes we make are not the errors of commission, they're errors of omission. I mean, it's letting the Microsofts of the world get away. I saw Microsoft 2 months after it went public. And I was so excited about that. Gates was not presenting. This was at a conference down in Baltimore in 1986 or 7.
And you didn't buy it?
I was so excited. I had to buy it. And I came back and I told my partners about it. And they said, well, buy some stock. So we bought a little bit of stock. It was trading at a very high valuation of everything. High multiple of revenues, I don't even know whether they're making any money at the particular time. But I mean, it just sounded terrific, and
So you didn't buy enough.
So the checks, we bought a very small position. We then went and had a board meeting of our company. We had a very august board of directors, and the board came in, and they said, somebody said, one of my good friends today said to me, Ian, what is this Microsoft? And I said, it's this company that has this amazing new operating system that's going to revolutionize the whole computer world, and this is going to make us a ton of money. He said, look, the thing is trading at about 50 times your projection of next year's earnings. It's got a huge multiple of book value and sales, et cetera, et cetera. He said, this is a very high-risk market. We should not own this thing. And I was not strong enough to stand up and say, we're not going to sell this thing. I'm going to put my reputation on the line. And I kowtowed to him, and we sold it. But,
But it was his mistake, really.
It was my mistake. He was a board director. He was offering an opinion. I'm the portfolio manager. It was my responsibility. This is what I call execution. This is what our job is. Our job is to stand up to a director and say, I'm going to put my reputation on the line. This thing is for real. Well, and I didn't do it.
Oftentimes, when you make an investment, you think it's the best investment you're going to make, and along the way, a couple things happen which make you a bit uneasy, and some of those things might be bad earnings versus what the company has said they were planning to do. It could be the fact that the CEO is starting to sell shares. You try to look for red flags that might indicate that the investment thesis you had laid out initially is not evolving according to what you had planned.
Giving investments the last chance can be troublesome because if you go and visit with management teams, especially in the United States, are tremendous salespeople, and they will tell you a great story about why the last quarter, which was a disaster, isn't actually a disaster, and the future is actually quite bright. So you have to, it is a good process to go and talk to management and talk to the analysts. But you also have to look at the actual results, and you have to listen to your gut feel in terms of, do you believe what they're saying, and are you still confident that the reasons that you've invested in this company are still legitimate? And if you have lost confidence in the management team or in the story, you're better off to drive on, sell that position, and go for something else that has not disappointed you. There are lots of companies where one disappointment is followed by another and another and another. The cockroach theory, in that if you see one, there are actually a lot of other cockroaches there.